Well, hello there, and thanks for stopping by for this Washington's Most Wanted Facebook Live in partnership with Crime Stoppers. And we begin with a case in Des Moines where police really need your help to identify a pack of violent cowards who teamed up to viciously beat and rob a man. And not just any victim, a good Samaritan doing his civic duty. This is surveillance video from last Saturday at about 6 a.m. at Redondo Beach in Des Moines. The victim is a dive instructor who took it upon himself to sweep up trash and pick up broken glass that he saw in the parking lot. Two suspects approached him and said something to him. And then one of the suspects starts hitting him, pushing him back into the center of the parking lot. And as the attack continues, 10 other suspects get out of 4 cars and start running towards the victim, ganging up on him for a beatdown. And you can see the one suspect hitting him and then putting the boots to his head, causing serious injuries. Well, the suspects then got into the victim's vehicle and stole personal items from him. Then they all jumped into their cars and took off. You see all 4 vehicles at a stoplight, and this is where police think you can help.
The suspects leave the scene in 4 separate vehicles: a white Chrysler 200, a silver Ford Expedition, a Ford Fiesta, also silver in color, and a Jeep Compass, also silver in color. And in particular, the Expedition has a roof rack that can be seen. You can see the outline of a black, what appears to be a roof rack on the top of the Expedition. We're hopeful that the public can look at these videos and photographs and help us establish who the responsible parties are for this incident. This was a brutal crime. We do not want to have this go unpunished, and we want to have Redondo a safe area for those people that choose to use it.
The victim is still recovering from his injuries. His fellow divers were shocked when they heard what happened. Jim Miner says he hopes his friend is able to heal enough to get back in the water soon.
Normally, this is one of the safest places you can go diving. I understand he got here super early, but even then, it's usually not at all on our minds, scuba divers, that we're going to encounter any problems here.
Senseless, cruel, horrific. An innocent man cleaning up other people's trash while waiting for his dive students. And a dozen hateful thieves attack him. Are these your kids, your nephews, maybe your neighbors? Again, this happened last Saturday at 6 a.m. Where were the young men you know that morning? This cannot stand. Let's get justice for the victim and hold these suspects responsible. Here's one more look at the 4 vehicles. And if you can tell Des Moines Police who drives them, where to find them, or if you can identify any of the suspects involved, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000 per suspect charged in the case. Don't wait until the next victim gets killed. Call the hotline right now at 1-800-222-TIPS, or you can text your tip through the P3 Tips app that you can download to your cell phone for free. And as always, you will remain anonymous. Now, watch this surveillance video at a pot shop in Silverdale. It shows burglars hurling a tire jack and a rock through the store's windows. The force pushing that table you see a couple of feet, damaging it and all the marketing material displayed on top. Shattered the glass everywhere. 2 suspects then burst their way through the window on their way to stealing more than $1,000 worth of merchandise. Here's the best look at this drug-stealing deviant and his chronic snatching cohort, who the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office is hoping you can help identify. And detectives say these 2 were not alone.
There's a third person that's waiting outside the store, so that when the 2 that made entry were stealing product, they were handing the product out to the third person who was stuffing a bag before they left.
Detectives say the suspect wearing the dark puffy hood and the light-colored jacket with a dark zipper and pocket is black with a thin build. The second suspect is described as possibly black or Pacific Islander, heavy set, wearing a gray Seahawks Super Bowl champions hat like this one. You can see he still has the store sticker on his hat that goes all the way back to 2014. It's a long time to keep a sticker on a hat, so somebody must know who this guy is.
This is where we'd like the public's help. We'd like to identify these folks. We want to catch them. We'd like to get these folks off the street.
If you recognize them, maybe you know that guy who wears the Seahawks Super Bowl hat with the sticker on it. If it rings a bell at all, please submit a tip so Kitsap County Sheriff's detectives can identify these guys. We've had a rash of marijuana thefts and robberies, and they need to be held accountable. So you will get a cash reward of up to $1,000 if you can identify either of them. Submit the names through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. We'll have more tributes to Merle throughout the broadcast. But first, see something, say something. That's always the message from law enforcement, and it's exactly what a customer did at the drive-thru of a Walgreens in Covington in King County when she saw a pharmacist getting robbed. Well, low-life thieves targeting hard-working people, I will always make a spot for you on this show. Mountlake Terrace Police need your help to identify a pair of them who pulled off a really bold crime of opportunity, taking advantage of an employee who was just getting ready for his day. Detective Pat Hatchell shows us how these two hit last Halloween morning behind the Bath Fitter store on 220th Street Southwest and 69th Avenue West.
This was a theft that happened, a vehicle prowl. They saw the van was open and they pulled in and took all his tools. Broad daylight there, and he was right inside there getting his stuff ready for the day. Yeah, it was very brazen, and they took a lot of time doing it. They spent probably about 7-8 minutes there, which is kind of a lot for these type crimes.
Well, the second suspect didn't do much and wasn't seen by the surveillance camera like this guy. Detective Hatchell says the suspect's truck is another big clue that might help you identify them.
The truck appears to be maybe a 2000s Chevrolet, but it's got two lights that seem to hang down behind it. And I don't know what those are, but I've never seen anything like that before. And they're hooked into the brake lights, obviously, and the tail lights, because they get light and dim as they back up. So the lights are pretty distinctive. The toolbox has a smooth top to it, which I haven't seen very many of those ever. Most of them are diamond plated. So I think this truck would be very easy to recognize if you know anyone that has a truck like this.
Detectives think the main suspect is white and in his 20s and around 5'10" to 5 feet 11 inches tall.
I'd like to catch him because here's a guy out there just going out doing his job, you know, going out trying to make a buck, and these people come along and take all his stuff. And, you know, that's just not right. That's not right at all. So I would like to catch these guys.
So if you recognize either of them or you know where police can find that truck, you will remain anonymous when you submit a tip to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound through the P3 Tips app or call the hotline 1-800-222-TIPS, and you will be paid a cash reward of up to $1,000 if police make an arrest. It's already difficult enough right now for kids to learn without thieves stealing the electronics they need. Lacey police are trying to solve a rash of burglaries at River Ridge High School. Now here's the suspect using a hammer to smash out a window. These break-ins started last November, and the most recent one was on January 11th.
In this day and age with remote learning, what's crucial for the kids is the Chromebooks. That's what they're using to communicate and do their schoolwork. With many of these things being stolen, it prohibits, these students from learning. It's unfortunate. It's a crime. Naturally, it's a burglary. It's a felony crime. But those affected are the students.
The photos of the suspect inside the school and wearing the headlamp are from the most recent break-in. The video of him using the hammer to smash the window is from November 24th. Detectives say a second suspect in a sedan waited in the car and served as the getaway driver. And just a day prior to that burglary, the same suspects hit a construction site near the school. And to make matters even worse, surveillance video showed the thief using bolt cutters to break into a portable where the football team stores their gear and equipment. Detectives say he's white, about 5'10", with a medium build. So if you recognize him, or if you know anything at all to help Lacey police identify these criminals, submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers of the South Sound. You can do it through the P3 Tips app or call the hotline 1-800-222-TIPS. A tribute to one of our founding partners here on Washington's Most Wanted. Myrle Carner has officially retired from Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound after more than 5 decades in law enforcement. A passionate crime fighter, victim's advocate, inspiration, and personal mentor, Merle always seeks to do the right thing. He sets by example, and he's been a true trailblazer in Seattle area law enforcement. It's Myrle Carner's last day in the office, almost 33 years after he launched the program that became Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound.
It's a picture of me in my younger days.
Myrle was working as a Seattle Police robbery detective when then Chief Patrick Fitzsimons called him to his office.
He handed me a sheet of paper It was actually green in color, 8.5 by 11, and had like 10 or 11 things written on it. And he says, I want you to look at that. You're kind of an innovative guy, I've heard, so take a look at these priorities I have, and I want you to come up with a program that will match what's on this sheet.
A fellow detective suggested he look into Crime Stoppers.
I'm going, that's the guy in the dog suit. I'm not wearing that dog suit. That's McGruff. Now, there's nothing wrong with McGruff. You know, it's obviously a great program, but I couldn't see me doing that. And they said, no, you're stupid, it's not. It's an investigative tool.
So he pitched the Crime Stoppers idea to the chief, who not only loved it, but wanted him to do something to jumpstart the program.
This is in the fall of 1987. So Green River was going crazy at the time. So I said, jumpstart. So I came up with an idea, let's do a movie about Green River using Crime Stoppers.
What began as an idea for a 20-minute documentary ended 9 months later as a national television show called Manhunt Live.
From Washington State, Sheriff James Montgomery.
There may be 300 serial killers across the country. Here in Seattle, King County, we've got the biggest case in America. He's killed at least 48 teenage girls that we know of.
The program was hosted by television star Patrick Duffy, whose sister was on the Seattle Police Department.
A little history behind that family. Their parents were killed in a mom-and-pop grocery robbery. And Patrick said, if there's anything I can do to help the cops, I want to do it. So his sister got a hold of him. He says, yeah, I'd love to do that.
Seattle, it's a great city to live in. And I know because I grew up here. And I've come back tonight on a very special mission, an international manhunt for the so-called Green River Killer.
There had never been a show like this on television. It was also the first time Merle was faced with being on live TV.
And we're sitting there on the set, and the director comes out, and he gives us a 5 count, 4, 3, and we're going to go live. And I have a speech. It's about a 30-second opening. I'm the first guy. And the first 5 words came across teleprompter. Then I went blank. And he's going, he's much like, keep talking. So everything you saw in that first minute was stuff I just made up.
Patrick, this is an exciting evening. And Manhunt Live is prepared tonight to offer a reward of up to $100,000.
With 50 detectives manning the phones, they hope to get enough tips to identify the Green River Killer.
These phone lines tonight will be open for 2 to 3 weeks, and we're expecting a lot of phone calls.
We actually, David, had 117,000 calls from people that wanted to give us that information.
It resulted in 3,800 tips for the Green River Killer Task Force and catapulted his Crime Stoppers program.
The fact is that when we started allowing the public to get involved and we learned how much information they have, that's really the success.
Over the next 3 decades, Myrle's work with Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound helped solve more than 13,000 felony cases.
And we'll look at a tip here. Tip on terrorism. So we'll go in and check it out.
And paid out more than $1 million in cash rewards. In 2008, we partnered for the launch of Washington's Most Wanted, working together to help catch almost 1,200 suspects.
I've had dozens of calls from around the country. How can we do this here? And I've been to seminars all over the United States talking about this show.
Now, more than 53 years after he started his career in law enforcement, he's packing up.
It's just time. Sometimes you know when it's right.
Closing the door on this chapter of his life.
I can honestly say there wasn't a day that I didn't enjoy going to work. The cop side I'm going to miss, but my family, they can't believe I'm retiring, actually. Well, I'll be at home, and my wife's excited, my kids are excited. Finally, Grandpa gets to spend a little more time with them, and frankly, I look forward to that.
And he's looking forward to more of his other great love, golf. Just last year, he became a certified golf technician. The workshop in his garage filled with signs.
This was a plate we had on our vehicle when we were doing the radio show, Cop Talk.
And souvenirs from a life of giving back, like his year as president of the Emerald City Rotary Club.
When I left, one of the things they gave me was my own bobblehead, so.
and golf coach that led his team at Kings High School to 3 state championships. And after a lifetime of doing so much for so many others, there's one thing I noticed that Merle doesn't have in his memorabilia. So today, I'm here to present this honor for you, Merle. I had this made for you.
Wow.
You're gonna need to find a spot to put it.
Oh my God, look at this. Oh, wow.
So this is your vest that you wore on duty.
Yeah.
These are your handcuffs.
Yeah.
These are Washington's Most Wanted golf balls you had made, I don't know, 10 or 11 years ago.
Okay.
You made these little pens for us, Washington's Most Wanted.
Yeah. This is awesome. I mean, I've never had anything like this. All I can say is, wow, this is unbelievable. Thank you.
Well, we're gonna miss you on Washington's Most Wanted. I'll see you on the golf course.
That you will, for sure. Thank you.
So that's a look at part of the show, Washington's Most Wanted, airing later tonight. I hope you'll join us for the full deal. 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox. Tomorrow night, it airs at 9:30 on Joe TV and 10:30 on Q13 Fox. And Fox TV stations in Spokane, Yakima, and the Tri-Cities, 10:30 p.m. We're a statewide crime-fighting machine that only works when you watch. So let's make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.